Egypt's vast $1 billion museum in Cairo officially opens after a nearly 2 decade long build that has seen everything from regional conflicts to the toppling of their own government really impact the delays. Construction never seems to get done on time, and turns out when you're doing something of grand importance, it's a little more difficult. But this is the Grand Egyptian Museum, located just a mile away from the pyramids of Giza, that cover 470,000 square meters.
Yep. Yeah. This is a $1 billion facility. Quite literally, that's what it costs to build it.
Jeez.
Uh, yeah. And it is also the world's largest archaeological facility dedicated to a single civilization. Because, fun fact, the Grand Egyptian Museum is going to be dedicated to the history and culture of Egypt and pretty much nothing else, which, given the fact that it's Egypt, uh, they are probably already overflowing in collections.
It's just really interesting because this original plan was announced in 1992. However, it wasn't until 2005 that the construction began, and the museum did have a soft launch, like the most recent relationship in 2024. That was before they were official, but they just wanted to test the waters. We're like, well, we're kind of together now. We're kind
Yep.
of open. Uh,
Yep. See what it's let's see what happens when we put people in our shiny new object
but
before we actually have to put all the people in our shiny new object.
it is kind of cool though because it now will house 50,000 items at the museum, including an 83-ton, 3,200-year-old Colossus of Ramses II and a 4,500-year-old boat that belonged to Khufu, the pharaoh credited with building the pyramids.
Ah, yes, Khufu. He has a very silly sounding name in English, which is why his name never gets brought up, even on his pyramids. It's just called the Grand Pyramids.
Well, he
They're
was a
just the
little
Great
Khufu
Pyramids.
for Cocoa Puffs.
It's Khufu. Yeah,
That's so
Khufu.
bad.
It's we shouldn't make fun of him. He'll come back from the grave to kill us all.
Please do. Anyways, the museum includes 24,000 square meters of permanent exhibition space, a children's museum, conference and educational facilities, a commercial area, and a large conservation center, which is phenomenal. There's so many things we could break down here. One, the fact that they have a permanent exhibition space, so things will permanently be put on display and held there. A children's museum to include families and to engage children in both history and the sciences. I mean, a lot of children's museums will have hand on exhibits where, they could say, dig in the sand for artifacts that definitely weren't placed there by museum staff about 10 minutes prior.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of fun you can do with the interactive stuff and making it for children, especially with how you write up a lot of the displays to make it palatable and understandable for young kids. That's something that's very important that you don't really see a lot of in the historical museum section
do you dare
of
bring up
things.
museology in my wholesome historical channel?
Yes, yes, we are because this is how we understand. This is how we understand history. It's through museology, and it's usually this is something that's usually reserved for like science museums. You know, biology, electricity, magnetism, and not nearly as much for history. And so that's very fun to see them do that. Um, I personally love the 12 separate galleries that are curated by time period so that you can go to the era of things that you like the most and spend your time there as opposed to just sort of wandering through mazes of various objects.
Hey, Mom, I'm going to be in the third dynasty wing. Okay, sweetie, come meet us in the Roman period. Um,
Now you never find me. I don't have anywhere I want to go. I'm just going to roam.
what's even cooler, bad joke, is the fact that they have not only conference centers so they can host professional conferences there, but they also have educational facilities, which will include classrooms and even labs, which is really cool because that's where a lot of the scientific research goes with archaeology is in these labs. So they'll be able to process carbon 14 samples. They'll be able to do different chemical composition studies. And it'll really open up the educational and research abilities. And these institutions, with those kinds of facilities, really do some of the heaviest lifting of the education sector of the academic world. And that will go in large part alongside their conservation center. So they'll be able to run all these scientific examples and basically put all the work in, the cutting edge work, into conserving them for basically preservation into the future, so future generations can research and learn and experience these past cultures. Because at the end of the day, we're just all stewards of history.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the fun things with this museum and how it tries to include everyone in the conversation and try and like bring everybody in is how they're choosing to integrate technology into a lot of their exhibits. They're doing something called mixed reality, um, which the article we have doesn't go too deep on, but effectively, what they're trying to do is they're trying to move away from the traditional museum style where you have an object and a placard sort of talking at you, telling you what it is. And they seem to be moving more towards some of that virtual stuff, multimedia, QR codes on your phone, little videos and stuff. A lot of that. They're trying to do a lot more of integrating with the modern world and with how a lot of people are, constantly using their phone anyway in a museum to take pictures and text and do everything else that we are constantly glued to.
A lot of
Might as well
places
make
will
the phone
have
a part of it.
Yeah, a lot of places will have QR codes you can scan and read more. It's an interesting take, and it's something that the museum world is currently grappling with, of how do we integrate this and use it in the future. And uh, again, one of the interesting things I think about this article is the fact that they do talk about the postponements, which is because of conflicts in the Middle East, including the Gaza crisis, and world leaders are all at this event. So it's a cool little push. It's great to see when a culture not only embraces their history but actively works to try and honor and preserve it and show it off. Because for countries like Egypt, these are a massive tourism pull. I mean, history like this is one of the easiest ways to get people into your country and to bring money into the local economy.
Yeah. And as you can see, in this museum and a lot of the pictures that are being shown, Egypt does not exactly possess a shortage of monumental and enticing heritage to display for the world. Um, they have a lot to offer. So this is something, this is a country that really stands to gain a ton from doing this. This is something that has a lot of pull worldwide.
A record 15.7 million people went to Egypt in 2024, a number that they're estimating to double by 2032. So it's interesting because this is an investment in cultural tourism, and it's the second largest economy on the entire continent, especially after the drop in 2011. And they
Yeah.
say that they're currently expecting 15 to 20,000 visitors per day,
Yeah.
which
I,
is
I will say
crazy.
I will say I'm a little scared by by the doubling of the record within less than a decade. Just because as great as that is for the country, we've seen over tourism happen in places like Peru and among others, and it's just like this one seems like the infrastructure's got to keep up, the money's got to keep flowing if it's gonna keep growing, and I do hope it continues to grow for Egypt. I just also hope that Egypt is able to keep up with it.
Well, Egypt has built a new airport that opened in 2020, and they're in the process of building out a metro station to service the museum. So it sounds like they are trying, and Egypt is also currently in the process of constructing a brand new capital east of Cairo right now. That is one of the largest planned cities currently in development.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so they are clearly moving towards this in a coordinated effort, which is good to see that that they're putting in these systems because this museum coming online, the tourism flowing back in, the artifacts being put on display in their home country. That's all very big, and it's very good to see the Egyptian government not treat this as a one and done sort of thing of we built the museum, we can take our hands off the wheel. Please never take your hands off the wheel.
And hopefully it helps influence the rest of the world to see, like, hey, a little financial investment here could have mass dividends. But I think that's a good point for us to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know your thoughts down below, and we'll see you in the next one.